Most people do not break when life gets hard. They break when another person gets inside their head. A look, a tone, a public correction, a moment of disrespect, a room that suddenly feels like it is judging you. And from that moment on, they are no longer free. Their breathing changes. Their face tightens. Their words become weaker. They start explaining too much. They start reacting too fast. They start handing their peace to the room. If that has ever happened to you, this video matters. Because there was a man in ancient Greece whose calm was so unnatural that even powerful men were drawn to it. Not because he looked dangerous, not because he spoke with force, but because almost nothing could shake him. And what he understood can change the way you handle pressure forever. In the next few minutes, you will learn a stoic method that can make you harder to intimidate, harder to shame, and far less controlled by other people's energy. Not by acting tough, not by suppressing emotion, not by pretending not to care, but by seeing pressure differently. Because the truth is simple. The moment you stop needing the room starts losing power over you. His name was Pyrrho. He was born around 360 BC in ancient Greece, and by most accounts there was nothing about his early life that suggested greatness. He was not born into obvious power. He did not begin as a ruler. He did not step into history as a celebrated philosopher. He began as an ordinary man. That matters more than people think. Because most people imagine inner peace as a personality trait. They think some people are simply born calm, born thick-skinned, born unshakable. Pyrrho's life points to something far more useful. He joined the campaigns of Alexander the Great, which means he did not build his philosophy in comfort. He built it around uncertainty, fatigue, instability, danger, and the kind of disorder that exposes what a person really is. And in that world, he became known for one thing: stillness. Not social polish, not fake confidence, not the kind of calm that disappears the moment life becomes hostile. Real stillness. The kind that makes other people uncomfortable because it reflects back their own instability. That is why this matters now. Because if calm can survive in chaos, then your peace does not have to depend on ideal conditions. It can become part of your character, but only if you understand what truly gives pressure its power. Pyrrho saw something most people never fully notice. Other people do not control you as much as your dependency on them does. Read that carefully. Other people do not control you as much as your dependency on them does. The need to be respected, the need to be liked, the need to look competent, the need to avoid embarrassment, the need to win the interaction, the need to leave the room with your image untouched. That is where your weakness begins. The moment you walk into a room needing approval, your position weakens. The moment you need to impress, you become transparent. The moment you need to avoid looking foolish, you become fragile. The moment your peace depends on a certain outcome, it is no longer yours. And people feel this immediately. They feel when you want their validation. They feel when you are scared of losing face. They feel when your confidence hangs on their reaction. They feel when you are silently asking them to confirm your worth. That is why pressure works. Not because other people are always stronger than you, but because they can sense where you are attached. And once they sense attachment, they know where to apply force. This is why one person is rattled by a cold tone, while another stays still. One depends on the room, the other does not. That difference changes everything. Because once you see it, calm stops being mysterious. It becomes a form of independence. The Greeks had a word for the state Pyrrho aimed at: ataraxia. Deep inner steadiness. Not ego, not performance, not the appearance of calm. Actual freedom from inner disturbance. That does not mean feeling nothing. It means no longer being ruled by every shift in approval, status, rejection, and outcome. This is where many people misunderstand emotional control. They think the goal is to manage the reaction after fear appears. Pyrrho aimed deeper than that. He understood that fear becomes powerful before the moment even arrives. It builds in anticipation. It builds in imagination. It builds in the mind's ability to create suffering in advance. What if they reject me? What if I look weak? What if I fail? What if I freeze? What if they think less of me? What if this ruins how people see me? That loop is where most people lose. Not in reality, in anticipation. And once anticipation takes over, the body follows. The chest tightens. The face changes. The voice changes. The pace speeds up. The mind starts negotiating with a threat that has not even arrived yet. This is why so many people feel powerless in social situations. They are not reacting to reality. They are reacting to a prediction. And the moment you learn to cut that prediction down to size, your entire presence begins to change. So, here is the method. Before any situation that makes you tense, ask yourself, what is the worst that actually happens here? Not the dramatic story in your head, not the vague sense of doom, not the emotional exaggeration your anxious mind keeps feeding. The real outcome. If you speak and they judge you, what happens? If you try and get rejected, what happens? If you fail in front of people, What happens? If someone disrespects you, what happens? If they laugh, misunderstand you, or think less of you, what happens then? Then ask the second question. Can I live through that? Can I live through rejection? Can I live through embarrassment? Can I live through awkward silence? Can I live through being misunderstood? Can I live through hearing no? Can I live through a dent to my pride? For most situations in ordinary life, the answer is yes. And that is the crack in fear. Because fear survives by staying unfinished. It grows in the sentence that never reaches its end. It grows in the mind that keeps asking what if without ever demanding an answer. Pyrrho's method forces completion. What if they reject me? Then what? What if I look foolish? Then what? What if I fail? Then what? What if they lose respect for me? Then what? Keep tracing the fear until it reaches its real ending. Most of the time, the ending is not destruction. It is discomfort. It is ego pain. It is temporary embarrassment. It is a bruise to the image you wanted to protect. And when you see that clearly, pressure begins to shrink. Because what the mind can define, it can often endure. This does not mean danger is imaginary. Some threats are real. Some losses are real. Pain is real. Violence is real. Consequences are real. Pyrrho's insight was never that nothing bad can happen. His insight was that panic makes you weaker in the presence of what is real. In ordinary life, this method frees you from social fear. In serious moments, it gives you something equally important: clarity. The mind that stops multiplying horror can act. The mind that stops dramatizing can see. The person who is not internally collapsing is harder to break. That is why calm is powerful. Not because calm looks impressive, but because calm keeps you useful. Useful in conflict, useful in embarrassment, useful in failure, useful when a room turns cold, useful when someone tries to dominate the moment. Panic steals your ability to choose. Clarity gives it back. And that is what makes stoic calm different from passive calm. Passive calm avoids life. Stoic calm faces life without surrendering the mind. That is why truly grounded people can seem almost intimidating. Not because they are trying to overpower anyone, but because pressure no longer reaches the place where it normally takes hold. Let me make this practical. Years ago, I was in my first sales job. Young, inexperienced, eager to prove myself, and far too dependent on what other people thought of me. Then I made a mistake. I sent the wrong items to a client. My boss found out and called me out in front of the whole office. Not privately, not carefully, in public. The room shifted instantly. People stopped pretending not to listen. You could feel that silent attention people have when they think they are about to watch someone collapse. Then he started shouting. Careless, unprofessional, costing him money. And for a second, I felt the old reaction rising. The urge to explain. The urge to defend myself. The urge to apologize too much just to make the discomfort stop. But then one question cut through everything. What is the worst that actually happens here? He fires me. Fine. Then what? I get another job. That was it. That was the great disaster my mind had inflated into something unbearable. And once I saw the ending clearly, most of his leverage disappeared. So I looked at him and said, I understand. I'll fix it today. That was all. No panic, no collapse, no emotional performance, attempt to match his intensity. And the room changed. Because he had thrown pressure at me and found nowhere for it to land. This is what most people miss. Pressure needs permission. It needs a place to enter. It needs attachment to survive. Take that away, and the whole dynamic changes. So how do you use this in your own life? Before the meeting, before the difficult conversation, before the interview, before the confrontation, before approaching someone you are afraid to approach, before speaking when your instinct is to stay silent. Pause. Slow the moment down. Then ask, what is the worst that actually happens here? Make it precise. Strip away the drama. Name the consequence clearly. Then ask, can I endure that and continue? Not can I enjoy it. Not can I avoid every sting. Can I endure it and remain myself? Can I endure rejection and continue? Can I endure awkwardness and continue? Can I endure not being chosen and continue? Can I endure being misunderstood and continue? Can I endure an injury to my pride and continue? If the answer is yes, then stop treating the possibility as a catastrophe. Accept the discomfort before it arrives. Accept that some rooms will not praise you. Accept that some people will not approve. Accept that some moments will not flatter your ego. Accept that outcomes do not always cooperate with the image you want to preserve. Then enter the room free. This is when your speech changes. Your pace changes. Your face changes. You stop over-explaining. You stop rushing. You stop chasing permission. You stop asking the room to decide your value. And people notice that immediately. Because calm has a shape. and so does desperation. Most people have felt both. Very few have trained one on purpose. So remember this: the room only controls the person who depends on it. That is the lesson. The person who can withstand embarrassment cannot be easily shamed. The person who can withstand rejection cannot be easily manipulated. The person who can withstand discomfort cannot be easily intimidated. That is not ego. That is freedom. And in a world full of people who are constantly reacting, constantly defending an image, and constantly negotiating with fear, that kind of calm feels rare. But it does not have to be rare. It can be trained. It can be practiced. It can become the way you walk into pressure. If you want more Stoic lessons on emotional control, self-discipline, and calm under pressure, subscribe. This channel is for people who want a quieter mind, a stronger presence, and a life no longer ruled by fear.